Good evening. It is 6 o'clock, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. Mrs. Knotts, Mr. Taylor, Mrs. Garvin are present in person. Mr. Dowdy is on the phone with us, and Mrs. Gallo is unavailable. It is the practice of our Board of Education to begin our meetings with prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. We invite you to bow your heads in prayer and stand to join us in the pledge if you so choose.
Please bow your heads. Lord, we respectfully ask for your guidance and wisdom as we proceed with the business before us. Keep us mindful of our purpose of providing a quality education for the students attending Taylor County Schools. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Stallings, do we have any addendums or adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, Ms. Garvin, we do. There are two. If you would please remove item 5539.
Just one name.
Just one name. The name Jennifer Maley. Remove that from that item. 5539.
And the other?
The second item I need you to address is the removal or just simply strike the item in the 1000 series, Rebecca Bartlett. No, she is no longer needing to address that. The 1000 right there in the information first sheet, about 3/4 of the way down. That item has already been addressed on a previous agenda. So she and I spoke and we realized we didn't need to have it on this one.
Very good.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all we have for this evening.
All right. The superintendent respectfully requests approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Taylor moves. Mrs. Knott seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Takes us to the 1000 series information, and we begin with the American Legion.
Good evening, everyone. We are here to do a ceremony for you. Last week, we presented a flag to the Board of Education to fly over their building. And they had a flag in this building that was here for a long, long time, and they wanted it retired. So we put it under glass and we presented it to them that way. We asked at that time if they would like to have another ceremony, and they said yes. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. We're here today to make sure that everyone knows that there are Americans around the world who are being held against their will, not accounted for, held prisoner, held hostage, and some of these and never make it home. We also need to let everyone know that the reason we have these type ceremonies is to make sure we never forget. Never stop remembering we have heroes around the world who need a proper accounting. We call these individuals MIA and POWs. Some people ask us why we have this ceremony. We don't have POW camps around the world anymore that we see in the news all the time. Occasionally you'll see an American was taken prisoner or captured, but not as much as we used to. This ceremony is so we never forget these Americans that are still out there. Some of you may know this and some of you may not. In 2024, there were 5 MIA POWs from our great state that were repatriated. They were finally identified and returned home. Private First Class Moss E. Vance from McDowell County returned home after 80 years not knowing where he was. Lieutenant J. Ross Mano from Kingwood, West Virginia, 80 years, and then he got to come home. Corporal Howard Godwin Jr. from right here in Grafton. After 74 years, he was returned home. Sergeant Kester E. Hartman from Smithville, West Virginia, 73 years, and then he was returned. And Corporal James C. Bowman of Jordan, West Virginia, after 75 years, he was returned home. The families of these servicemen finally got closure for their loved ones. We can never forget the sacrifice that these men gave America and what their families had to endure while they were gone. This ceremony is about honor, sacrifice, and closure. That's the reason we have this ceremony. I have a pamphlet that I will leave here if folks want to look at it. It is the 5 individuals that were returned, and inside it has a little write-up about each one of them. I will leave it here if you would like to see that. We'll now have a special ceremony to honor the servicemen and women who are sometimes forgotten. If you notice, there's a flag up front by itself, alone. This is the Missing in Action and Prisoner of War flag. This ceremony is for those MIA and POWs. I call your attention to the small table that's behind me. It occupies a place of dignity and honor. It will be set for one, symbolizing the fact that members of our armed forces are missing from our ranks. They are referred to as MIA and POW. Remember, we call them comrades. They are unable to be with their loved ones and family, so we join together in a humble tribute to them and bear witness to their unyielding absence. Remember, the table is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against his oppressors. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to our country's call. Remember, the single red rose in the vase reminds us of the families and loved ones of the comrades in arms who kept the faith, awaiting their return. Remember, the red ribbon so prominently tied around the vase is reminiscent of the red ribbon worn on the lapels and breast of many, bearing witness to their unyielding determination to demand a proper accounting. Remember, the slice of lemon on the plate reminds us of their bitter fate. The salt on the plate symbolizes the tears shed by those who wait. Let us remember. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us. The chair is empty. They are not here. The candle is reminiscent of the light of hope which lives in our hearts to illuminate their way home, away from their captors, to an open arms of a grateful nation. Let us remember the American flag, the Armed Forces flag, and the MIA POW flag remind us that many of them may never return and have paid the supreme sacrifice to ensure our freedom. The Bible reminds us to pray to the Supreme Commander that all of our comrades will be back soon within our ranks. Let us remember and never forget the sacrifices. May God forever watch over them and protect their families. We'll now have a short prayer for our veterans. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the brave men and women who sacrificed through the years defending our nation. We ask that you bless them all, veterans, past, present, and future. And we ask this in your name. Amen. This concludes our ceremony. I would ask if you know a veteran or you see a veteran, thank them for their service. And also remember those who cannot be with us because they're missing, prisoner, hostage, or have given the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you very much for having us again. I just want to say that May is going to start soon, and May is a very important month in Grafton, if you don't know. There's a big parade. There's 2 national cemeteries here, and there'll be some ceremonies that you can see there. So again, thank you so much.
And thank you, gentlemen, for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And we are going to continue in our pursuit of being wildly patriotic with the VFW and the VFW Auxiliary, the Patriot Pen.
I'll start with the Patriots Pen. It's a contest held every year for 6th through 8th graders. And this year, our 3rd place winner was Julia Rossi. Is she here? You can come on up. If the winners could stay up for a moment, please. 2nd place is Ava Leard. And 1st place, Julie Hall. I also understand that 3rd year Ms. Skubis is here this evening, if she would like to come forward as well.
I would just like to say these 3 young ladies are very bright, intelligent girls, and the theme of this essay was the voice of democracy in America, and their papers reflected, as 8th grade students, how do you have a voice? You have a voice in speaking up for each other. You have a voice in classes you join, and you also have a voice in everyday life in your community. So you don't have the right to vote yet, but every day in your life you have a voice, and you can make that voice in making your world a better place in your classroom, in your families, in your friendships, in your society as you know it. And they did a very, very well done job. Thank you, girls. And if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to get a picture of you, so stay put for a minute.
Did the board want to say anything to them?
Yes, if you'd like to.
Sorry. So, ladies, thank you for using your voice to remind us that we have voices, and don't lose that voice. It's more important than ever. So I am proud of you. Excuse me. And I think we're all very proud of you, and go forth and do wonderful things that make you proud, that make your parents proud, that make Taylor County and the USA proud. Well done.
Good job, ladies.
That is one of two contests that we have in the fall. In the spring, we have the patriotic art contests, and we had 2 entries. Our first place winner is Casey Alexander. And if you could stay up here as well. And our second place winner is Kenzie Persinger. Is Kenzie here? And I also, in addition to working with the VFW Auxiliary here in Grafton, I also have the honor of being the State Department Scholarship Chair for the Auxiliary this year. And while the judging is still going on, I can say that there is a good chance that we will have a state winner as well. So,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you want to go ahead and stand up? Yeah. Very proud of you for putting out the effort. We know this is an addition to everything else that you do, and you have to have a passion to be able to put the effort and the creativity into this contest. And just like we've said all evening, you know, this is a very important part of our community, and we're just very proud of you that you take part in that, and hopefully that you will continue to be a very big part of our community as you move through your life. And don't forget about where you've come from and your roots here, and always support your hometown. So congratulations.
As noticed prior to this evening, we did an addendum that was the additional piece for the 1000 series, and that's recognizing the the theater production recently provided to us at the Grafton High School auditorium.
So I am delighted to be standing on this side of the counter tonight because these 39 kids are amazing. They showed up. They kept their grades up. I don't think any of them were involved in just this. Everybody was here and there, and FFA and tennis and HISTA and extracurricular and social studies fair and like, just listing that makes me tired. They did a phenomenal amount of work in a very short time, really, and I think gave Grafton a wonderful performance.
Indeed.
So I'm going to read all of their names. Some of them are here. Some of them, I'm sure, are off doing other things this evening because they don't stop. So from the high school, we have Nevaeh White, Ian Phillips, Greer Taylor. Come on, stand up and get up here, y'all. Julia Shea, Lindsay Supin, Jaden Young, Abby Swigger, Kelly Bolliard, Evan Weatherby, Isaiah Moore, Jax Austin, Emma Mail, Leona Delaney, Jayla Blackhurst, Annalita, I still don't say her last name right, starts with a G, I apologize, Sophia Polinsky, and Callie Copeland. These are my high school kids. Some of them were on stage, some of them were backstage. They're rock stars. From the middle school, and Sarah Moore. This is why I need Sarah to make the list for me. She's my stage manager, and an absolute rock star. She ran the show. She called every cue in the show. She said, sets go, lights go. She made sure quick changes were happening. She was backstage, eyes and ears all over the place. Absolutely awesome. From the middle school, I have Brooklyn Everett, Abigail Ashby's, Aiden Erdy, Aria Hill, Audrey Aceto, Bristol Dunham, Cadence Holmes, whose name I also always said wrong, Genevieve Mahone, Jake Davis, Jenna Bolyard, Lily Snyder, Lily Shiflett, Mackenzie Bolyard, Quinn Brashear, Sophia Espinoza, Brickell Strum, Zane Beverly, Anthony Himes, Carter Gwynn, Zoe Garvin, and Emily Leach. Again, on stage and backstage. We had 5th grade through 12th grade well represented, and watching them support each other, watching them step out of their comfort zone and really push to make this the biggest, best that they could, is absolutely the most dynamic thing I have seen in a while. And I am so crazy proud of every one of these kids. With every one of these kids came a phenomenal set of family. So we are really, really blessed for that as well. So for my seniors, big tear. For the rest of you, I expect to see you again, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, part of the cast and crew of the 2025 Legally Blonde. And I would be foolish to say that I was the only adult in the room. Doretha Mail from the high school, Claiborne Koontz, who is also involved with the entertainers, and Mike Garvin, who did a phenomenal amount of work on our scenery. And again, I did not make my list properly. We also enlisted Mr. Uhl's construction technology class and Mr. Wilson's welding class, and they built some scenery for us, so we are phenomenally grateful to them as well. Y'all, I love you. Turn around, somebody to say something besides me.
Well,
Oh, you're going first.
I had the pleasure of watching your play. Boy, did you guys do a phenomenal job. I mean, outstanding from top to bottom, all the way across. I really enjoyed it. I mean, and I've been to a lot of plays at Grafton High School, so you know, you guys are at the top of the list. Good show.
I mean, I unfortunately could not watch you this year. My daughter was in some things as well, so I needed to go be with her. But I heard a lot about it. And one thing I want to say to you guys is what you start with and what you end with, what you built. You guys built it. You guys made it what it was. And it's music, you know, it's dance, it's memorization, it's studying your script, right? I mean, it's everything that you put together from, you had nothing in the beginning, the first day she brought you in the auditorium, and in the end, you built something together. You had to make sure the stage was where it was and how, I mean, it's just, everything comes together, and it's being able to see that accomplishment in the end, I want you to remember. It's something that you made, and that's something that I want you to remember for the rest of your life. It's what you make of it. It's what you did, and to be able to see the fruit of your efforts is just amazing. And be proud of that. Be very proud of that. And hopefully, you guys will come back next year for those of you that can. And there's many similar opportunities out there that you can enjoy. So in life. So congratulations on a job well done. And thank you to the parents for probably bringing them to the school, late night pickups. You know, some of them may have been driving, but some probably had to be picked up a lot, right? Especially middle school. So I know that late nights for parents are hard. So, but thank you to the parents for allowing that and encouraging your children. And thank you to you.
This is my love.
Yeah.
And, these kids are a piece of my heart now, so. All right, and there is a pair of pants on that back table belongs to somebody, because I know I didn't buy it for the show, so make sure you take a look at that.
We'll do her first.
All right. Yeah, so anybody who would like to is welcome to leave at this point.
Bye-bye.
And that takes us to, unless I'm missing anything, the superintendent's updates.
Thank you, Ms. Gallo, Ms. Garvin. Thank you. I do want to start with our recognition. Mrs. Roberts is here to help with this gallery is still full of a lot of faculty and staff, if you've probably noticed, and we're pleased to have you here. Mrs. Roberts is going to help me with one of the very most important parts of the updates, and that is shout outs for recognizing the 2025 Staff of the Year and Service Personnel of the Year. And I will hand the mic over to her.
All right. So we did a process very similar to last year, where we opened it up to the public, to our families, to individuals from the community, colleagues, to recommend our service as well as our Teacher of the Year. So we had 74 recommendations for Teacher of the Year, and I think that speaks volumes about the teachers that we have and what our community and our families are seeing. Mrs. Nines, she had 19 recommendations for Service Personnel of the Year. So once again, I feel like that really speaks volumes of what our community sees. So we then notified those individuals of this recommendation, and then we asked them if they accepted the nomination and wanted to submit an application. We had 27 teachers submit an application and 5 service personnel to submit an application. And one of the things we had an administrator reach out, and there were several teachers and service staff that because of time restraints and so forth, they could not submit an application, but it really made a difference, and it really made them feel like they were making a difference by just being told, hey, someone thinks highly enough of you to recommend you for that honor. So right now we want to ask our individuals that were nominated for Teacher of the Year, if you would please stand up so we can recognize you. Thank you. And those individuals nominated for Service Person of the Year, if you would please stand up. Thank you. So as you can imagine, it was a very difficult decision. You can see we have so many wonderful, dedicated individuals, and it was difficult. We used the rubric that the State Department provides in terms of helping us kind of look at those applications. Here in just a moment, Dr. Stallings will announce the Teacher of the Year as well as the Service Person of the Year for Taylor County. These 2 individuals will then be encouraged to complete the application for the State Department and then go on to potentially be considered or be selected as the West Virginia Teacher of the Year. So I will now turn it over to Dr. Stallings.
Thank you. The envelope, please. There you go. There you go. There you go. That's just adds to the excitement. Very good. And so, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the 2024-2025 Teacher of the Year, Charity Karowski, English teacher, Grafton High School. Charity. You get to stand up, too. Very good. And of equal importance, it is also my privilege to introduce the 2024-2025 Service Personnel of the Year. And that individual is Elizabeth Beth Yoakum, kindergarten instructional aide at West Taylor Elementary School. With your permission, we will post your photographs on the entrance bulletin board for the year, if that's all right with you. Thank you.
First off, I want to say congratulations, not just to our winners, but to every single one of you that have been nominated. Like she said, I'm sure the selection process was tough because every single one of you are top-notch. We have the best educators and service personnel in the state, all put together in one county. So, and I truly believe that. I've had 3 kids go through this school system, and a lot of you have had them, as well as grandkids and kids of the rest of the board members, and we can't say enough about what you do for the kids, not across the county and every school that we have. And I'm just super proud of everything that you guys do. You guys pull together anytime it needs to be pulled together. You pull together every day. You're doing 100% top-notch work. So picking one teacher of the year and picking one service personnel of the year just seems crazy because everybody's just awesome in this county. So first off, congratulations to everyone. And secondly, good luck at going to the state. We know that you're going to shine and you're going to represent our county tremendously. So just congratulations. We're very, very proud. Very proud of this county and very proud of all of you.
Yes.
John?
As she said, congratulations to all of the nominees. Certainly that someone thought enough of you to nominate you is an honor. And to our winners, way to go. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to see some familiar faces out there, and congratulations to our winners, and go for the states.
The level of dedication, determination, love, tempered with the right level of crazy, because y'all are amazing. So thank you for everything you do every day and coming back on the days that are hard, so that we get to these days that are amazing. So, because that group before you, all those awesome kids, that's y'all's fault. Okay? Thank you so much.
I just want to say, Ms. Garvin and board members, that it is a pleasure to serve as a superintendent with staff such as these people that are in front of you. We do hear time and time again of all the wonderful things that take place in your classrooms and as you're working with our children in their various capacities. I don't say that lightly. I've spoken to colleagues of other counties, and their stories to us talk about negativity. And we don't experience that in Taylor County, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm proud of the fact that we can say, oh, that's too bad. We don't experience that very often at all. Taylor County must be different, and I believe they are. You are. We are. And I thank you for that as well. Thank you.
And we don't have a bell here, but y'all are dismissed. You can hang about if you want, but
Is that saying a bit rest of our business is boring? They leaving?
Thank for being here, folks.
Thank you.
Geez, that's small writing.
The remainder of the updates that I've just handed you were not sent electronically for a couple reasons. Everybody was very busy, myself included, and there were some updates I wanted to provide you, and I needed to include them as of today. So if you will go with it, I won't read them specifically, but I'll give you a quick highlight of each of those items. The update that we have is that we were still working on the concession stand at Flemington Elementary School, and as you know, I'd copied some questions that had been posed to the gentlemen that were working on that initiative. The response I received from them has been attached to your updates. That's the second sheet of paper, and the information is in red that Mr. Shaw and his colleagues provided in response to those. As you review that information, you'll see that there are still some concerns that have been shared with them, that they have shared with us, and some decisions need to be made about the various expectations that both the health department and fire marshal and sanitation individuals are expected to have in place. Once we have more specifics about that, we'll continue to work with our maintenance department as well to see how that's working. There's some yet to be determined information that we have not received from Mr. Shaw and his colleagues. The envelope project about which you are familiar, we did have the pre-bid meeting, and the last time I gave you an update, we did that, and scheduled tomorrow, not April 230, that's a typo, April 30th. It is.
I'm going to interrupt you. We appear to have lost Mr. Dowdy, so
Oh.
keep talking, but I'm going to call him back.
Certainly. The the bid opening for those people that were present for the pre-bid meeting dealing with the Flemington envelope project is scheduled for tomorrow at 1 o'clock, where we'll find out who has actually gotten the bid for that project. That's been under the coordination of Dr. Decker and Greg Martin, but she's been overseeing that for us, and I think we're still on schedule for 1 o'clock tomorrow, correct? Very good. Transportation and maintenance departments, we have the process for ordering and purchasing the fuel tanks that we need there has been started. As soon as we have that anticipated delivery date, we will then proceed with the need to install. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. I now know where you are in the paperwork. Anyway, then but once we do the full evacuation of the current buried tanks, we'll then continue to work with those projects that were recommended by Mr. Martin and the architectural firm. Anna Jarvis continues to work on that project. If you've been by that recently, you know that they are getting much more land preparation completed. Things are clearing out, and it's scheduled. We have a meeting, in fact, tomorrow, where we were asked if we could move up a little bit of the planned step. We're going to discuss tomorrow how to practice utilizing less and less of the front parking area as the construction area grows and spreads closer to the current building. And we'll start, when I say practice, we're going to do a dry run. We'll discuss that tomorrow about the details so that we can start relocating and send a message to families about start utilizing our bordering property that we with the Catholic property, Mount Calvary, where they were gracious enough to let us become a part of that process. The feasibility study, we met with Mr. Sturm and his representative last week, and we learned more about that process and some of the plans that they had. And it seemed, as we were looking at our current information from the original benefactor that gifted us one of the parcels of property back in 1938, that some of that language had restrictive expectations about the utilization of those pieces. I became intrigued when we started looking at the tax maps. And so I went to the courthouse, and with the assistance of Krista Kinsey, the assessor, who was very gracious in helping me figure out what was going on, I discovered that there are in fact 9 separate parcels that make up that area that we call Camp Tolls. Subsequently, we discovered there was not a survey that had been done of all those pieces to bring them together, at least to have a full perimeter survey completed. And we have made arrangements to have that started in the very near future, so that at some point we can say, oh, that's all part of Camp Tolls, not just a sliver here and a sliver there. I also one of the pieces I discovered that a good portion of the property or the road, before we actually get to what we consider the entrance gate of Camp Tolls, is in fact a part of what was intended to be a railroad. And part of the parcel that we have, you own as the board, includes what was supposed to be a railroad that was never developed. And so Mrs. Kinsey and I were figuring out that parcel must have been created as a road over time, back when it was originally deeded to us. And then lastly, on the second page that Mrs. Knotts got to a moment ago, we started looking at the logo that has existed in the county for a while, which was the globe. And suddenly it was the globe sitting in the middle of a book, as you recall. We discovered that if you look at that, it was there's not there. The globe had it depicted Africa. It had nothing to do with the United States, and so our directors and myself started looking at that and took some initiative to create something that was a little bit more indicative of what Taylor County Schools really should be doing. Also, as a part of the discussion for the strategic plan, this was incorporated in there. So this evening, I have an example. I want to unveil what we have as and I'll explain it to you because it includes multiple components, and there's intentionality in the design. So hidden next to me, I'll pull that out now so you can see what we're looking at. One of the renderings looks like this, and it will be part of our, we have a new glass door on the front of our entrance. We're going to try to have that piece with the help of Stacy Ward from the high school's business program who does those, but we'll be introducing this logo, and so it'll be part of our letterhead, et cetera, as well. But you'll notice, and this is it, so you'll notice that it reflects a book with 3 pages or 3 layers of the book. The intention there is representative of each of the 3 programmatic levels, elementary, middle, and high. There are 5 stars in that depiction that represent, of course, the 5 schools that we have in this county. And then coming up from that educational experience is the graduation. So the learning, achieving, and aspiring will be the expectation. So that is what we're introducing to you this evening. We're getting rid of, or moving away from the globe of Africa. I don't know. It was, I inherited it when I was here, and some people say, I think the phrase is, it was on fire when I laid down on it. And as we started looking at it more carefully, everyone started saying it was a head scratcher, like, is that Africa? And so why?
Well, it's been around forever.
Who was the artist involved in that?
We hired a graphic artist, and his name is Rick, and Amy is not here for me to remember his last name. I apologize, I should have credited him with that. But he was the gentleman that created the graphic design logo for West Taylor. I believe he's a resident of the northwest portion of our county, a local gentleman who does that as a business.
Is that Nick Fryer?
Nick Fryer.
Fryer, yes, sir, thank you. Do you know him?
I do.
He's been
So-
nothing but great for us in working. And this is yet
Yeah,
another piece
I
of,
think that's a nice piece of work. I
That
really
is.
do.
he
Very
was
nice.
very good. I have one of the piece I want to show you.
So can it be round instead of square?
Yes, there are lots of options. There's a branding guide that gives us a variety of options.
Here he goes, he's gonna pull out the round one.
I like it. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just used to the round. Yes, there you go.
This is what we were thinking would be behind you.
Okay,
I like that.
you should have showed us that first. I like that.
Well, then, let's back up.
We can share the whole branding
This is
guide
the
with
first
you.
thing.
You can do it in multiple colors, depending on what you're putting it on. There's a whole branding guide that you can see.
So the
I
intent
like the
was,
blue and gold and white.
I
Yeah.
do.
I do
This is
too.
really, really fantastic.
very good. We're
I
glad
like
you
that.
like it.
I like a little bit of red in it too, but I am fine with exactly what's there. I like it.
Well, thank you. We're glad you please.
I like the round.
Very good. There you go.
Yes, very nice.
There you go. We'll have that mounted at some point. And like I said, I thought we would do this across the glass of the front door when you walk up to that. Not this, but just having this, you'll see that on the glass on the inside.
They want that.
And these are just the same two pieces.
I
in
like
just a
that.
smaller version.
I don't know what it is about the other one.
It's the
I
fact
like
that
that
the
one
word
too.
Taylor is lowercase and everything else is uppercase, which is what is off-putting for me about the original. I like it, don't get me wrong, but I like the all capital circular better.
Yeah, we thought these could actually, at some point, maybe we can have this done in pins at some point, too, maybe.
Now, what were you saying? What were you saying?
On the,
She's indicating this is lowercase and this is uppercase, or that, I mean, these are lowercase, this is all caps.
What do you like? You didn't like that?
I prefer the round in all
Oh,
capitals.
I do too,
Yeah.
yeah. But between the two, the rectangle and between those two?
Oh, I was just showing that it included, these two included both examples. That's the only difference.
Oh, I see what that was.
was
I
just-
like, okay.
And-
I also like that to be put on the front door. I don't know why. I like that right there, what you have in your hand.
You mean both?
Yeah, I just like that
So
whole
we could-
thing there. Because it gives you the, I don't know, I like that.
I don't know, for the front door, you ought to do one or the other.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, but we can have both examples looked at and we'll see what that, anyway.
Yeah,
That's,
First, my preference would be we stick with the round and use it everywhere.
yes, I agree.
well, the round doesn't fit as easily on our, the spacing on our website and our letterhead. So we'll be using the one that talks about the Taylor on my letterhead because it gets it up out of the way, so. But that can be one of the only places it shows up. That's why we, as Dr. Decker's indicated, he's given us all those options. It's similar to what we did at Grafton High School where certain colors are they?
Font,
And
size
font.
of font, all that is
Awesome.
branded.
Branded, I was gonna say patented, but branded, that's what we've done, so that's the intention of that, so. And so that's the last of the updates, other than to remind you that for those of you that are attending in person and those of you that are doing it virtually, there's a training for the superintendents and the board members at Stonewall this Saturday. And I believe the more recent communication we received from Mr. Brown is that he will be sending a link for those people participating virtually to watch in your emails for that.
Well, he did, but I
Oh.
thought I was going to cancel that last meeting.
Shirley canceled him. I just sent that the next day, she confirmed.
Well, I got the email that I,
Well, I'll
to her-
send her another email tomorrow and tell her.
okay.
So your participation is canceled or the meeting is canceled?
No, my participation, because
Okay.
I'm going to do 1 hour
Okay.
online. And I have a question about something in your presentation.
Okay.
The Anna Jarvis parking lot. Just, because you mentioned it, and it reminded me of something, like how you said that construction is getting like closer and closer.
It's growing.
Yeah,
It's,
it's growing. And you were worried about the pickups and the drop-offs, right? Is that what you said?
right, that's what we'll be discussing tomorrow, the rollout of how we're going to do a practice. Originally, the idea was that we wouldn't be doing that until summer.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, they found that they are moving a little faster. Believe it or not, they are moving a little faster and would like to do a practice run now so that they can have people used to that shift.
I was just wondering, I went through there one day last week, right at school release and parent drop-off.
Crazy.
It was quite crazy. Just wondering how that's going. I mean, are you guys seeing any issues at all? Is it smoother than what it looked like it might be by just a passerby? 'Cause
I think
by being a passerby, it was like,
smooth,
wow.
smooth is a relative term. I was coming back from someplace, I think I was coming back from the high school, and I happened to go through town to drop something off at the post office, and so I went through town and came up and got in line at the Chrysalit property and waited my turn, and I looked at the clock and realized what was happening, and I waited, and currently the parents are still lining up, and everybody still wants to be there first.
Right.
However, like I said, we've arranged with the MOU for the Catholic Diocese. They're allowing us to take advantage of their property to do the drop-off. That's one of the things we'll practice. In addition, the third of the MOUs that's been issued with the trustees of the Church of the Good Shepherd has been edited in accordance with their request, and that is simply just in the offing. That's designed so that as people are lining up on the Mount Calvary property, as any overflow may occur, the occasional overflow will be on the Church of the Good Shepherd property as a staging location, merely to drive in, watch, and then move from Lucas Dairy over into that, so it stays off of 50 as much as possible.
Have we at all encouraged parents if they can use a bus?
That will definitely be, tomorrow's
That's
discussion will help
what
us
I was
craft the
thinking.
messaging, and that is definitely going to be what we're going to encourage them to do.
That was my first thought as I drove through there last week. I thought, man, we need to encourage parents if they can. I mean, I know there's some that are still feel the need to pick up and drop their kids off, and
Yeah.
I get it. I completely get it, but,
Yeah.
and I understand.
I'll
But
remind
if
you,
we could encourage them to use the bus, if possible, that might help a little bit.
that's in the offing as well. I'll remind you that when I first started here, I stumbled on that issue at Anna Jarvis before one piece of dirt had been moved, and when we still had what I called the perpendicular lot. That was the location where we did the cornerstone ceremony. When that still existed, parents were still filling up and spilling out on 50. And so, yes, I made the naive decision to go stand in the middle of 50 and direct traffic one day. Was quickly reminded by both of my sons, don't do that anymore. People were very helpful and cooperative. I just thought that's what you did. But apparently that's not appropriate. So I haven't repeated that process. But indeed, as we narrow the available space for them to access what we call the main entrance to Anna Jarvis, it becomes more and more difficult to get that many people through. So we will be encouraging more and more people to take advantage of as much of the bus transportation as possible.
It does seem like they back up on Route 50 pretty much, though.
They certainly do.
And we shouldn't cause that kind of a problem for other people who are not picking up kids.
That is correct. Our goal is to figure that out, and we're working on it as we speak. If we could figure out a way to do it otherwise, I think the difference is simply this. We're building a school on our own front yard instead of building a school someplace else that we will eventually move to. I know Bridgeport did that. They experienced some traffic differences, but we're able to navigate that successfully, and we think we can do that as well. I have not had one instance where anyone became argumentative of anything when asking them to be patient with us, unless it's happening without involving me. I'm pleased to tell you that, because it could be ugly otherwise.
Good. That's all I had.
Thank you for your patience with that report.
And does that take you through everything?
Ma'am?
Takes you through everything, yeah?
So far, so good.
Okay. Board member updates or board committee meeting reports? All right, that brings us to the 2000 series, minutes, policies, contracts, and agreements. Superintendent respectfully requests approval for the minutes of the regular and levy meetings on April 15th, 2025. Motion?
Moved.
Mrs. Knotts moves.
Second.
Mr. Taylor seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have Mr. Dowdy back. We're going to say motion passes. I think, yeah. Daniel, can you hear me?
He must be gone again.
All my lights are still on, so last time I lost him, it clearly hung up.
Mr. Dowdy, are you there still?
He cut out again, he said.
Sure.
No, he said that should be the last time. She just called him back from that text.
Oh, okay.
Because I held my
all right.
phone up and told her.
Yep.
Subscriber you have dialed
Nope.
is not.
Which means maybe I dialed it wrong.
The last four digits.
9945.
Where's this parking lot going? John? John?
Are you back?
I'm back.
Okay, thank you. You good with the minutes?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. So that motion passes 4-0. Moving down in the 2000 series, we have administrative guidelines on the first reading, several policies and codes on the first reading, policies and codes on the third reading. Superintendent respectfully requests approval of items 2263 through 2273 in the 2000 series.
Moved.
Mrs. Knotts moves. I'll second. Questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Third reading passes. Resolved that the bylaws and policies printed and codified in the comprehensive document entitled Bylaws and Policies of the Taylor County Board of Education are hereby adopted, and that all bylaws and policies heretofore adopted by the Taylor County Board are hereby rescinded. Further be it resolved that in the event any policy, part of policy, or section of the bylaws is judged to be inconsistent with law, inoperative by a court of competent jurisdiction, or is invalidated by a policy or contract duly adopted by this board, the remaining laws, bylaws, policies, and parts of policies shall remain in full effect. Okay, continuing into the 2000 series, we have two agreements. Superintendent respectfully requests approval of items 2274 and 2275.
So moved.
Mr. Taylor moves.
Second.
Mrs. Knott seconds. Questions?
I'm just happy about 2274.
Excuse me?
Was that
No.
it was a mumble. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh.
I just wanted to make sure.
I said just makes you happy to see 2274 on there too.
Yes.
I was just going to say we were successful so far. That will give us success with now 3 of the 5 locations so far.
Very good. All right, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. Moving into the 3000 series consent calendar.
This was intended to reflect what you had indicated when we spoke last time, including the additional date or two that you had mentioned when we were discussing it in our previous meeting.
Well, I've
Right.
changed my mind.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
All right, there are several purchase orders and a request to use facilities as well. Superintendent respectfully requests approval of items 3182 through 3186 in the 3000 series.
Move approval.
Mrs. Knotts moves. Mr. Taylor seconds. Any questions?
Yes. If you've went over this before, I apologize. My brain doesn't always keep everything in there. Where is the parking lot going at West Taylor? Have you told us that? I'm sorry if I forgot.
No, it's okay.
You
It's
haven't-
actually when
I
I
don't
was
remember the-
absent from, I was ill and I was texting Dr. Stallings during that meeting. So it is going in front of, so the grassy area on the opposite side of where there's like 4 or 5 parking spots in the front, it's going to be up against the building, but not right up against. There'll be a sidewalk to walk, but additional parking in that front area.
So when you pull in, we built that other parking lot here to the left. Is it near it?
Pull in, go around the loop, and
Around the
as you
loop.
go around the loop, it's going to be where, on the side of the building side. So it'll kind of match the,
You'll park facing toward the building.
Wait a minute.
The island that you drive around in the main
Yeah.
entrance,
Yeah.
as if you're going to exit, those few parking spaces that have always been there will be on your left. They are staying there.
Okay.
That's in that island. And a portion of the grass that's to your right, closer to the building,
Oh, by the classroom.
we're going to increase some of those. We're going to harvest some of that grassy area and make it parking spaces. So you'll have the option of either pulling to the right or to the left as you come around that main loop.
But wait a second, can I,
We're not losing the whole front yard. We're just adding some additional parking there.
it just concerns me a little bit of the parking spaces being that close to the windows.
there'll
Of
still be a
classroom.
sidewalk. It won't be right up against that. So there'll be a continuing sidewalk from the other parking lot that you first mentioned to connecting, so someone can still park on that and get connected all the way to the front of the building in a straight line there. So they won't be right up against the building. There'll be some space there. We had an engineer go out actually and look. Mrs. Knotts had requested this because they're having a difficult time when parents come in for meetings, for them to have a parking spot that's not in the back side of the building, because there's not a way to allow entry and for visitors on the back side of the building. They have to come to the front. And so they discussed some other options on the other side of that front lot where the sign is, and also as you're pulling in to the right. But it was found that that wouldn't be, structurally, that's not the best place for it due to water, due to some runoff. Those would not be the best place for it. And so that was the recommendation of the engineer to place it there and closest to the building for entry for visitors who are visiting the building.
There's still grass between the cars and the building.
It'll be a sidewalk, mostly. It'll mostly be, there'll be grass in between the sidewalk and the building, and then a sidewalk, and then the parking lot, if that makes sense.
Not much grass, so.
It can't be very much.
Yeah, it won't be a ton, but there will be grass, then a sidewalk, and then the parking lot.
So we couldn't have people park still in the loop?
There's only, well,
Well, no,
two
no,
handicap.
Like along the curb area.
No, not, so when buses are there.
Well, I know, that's
yeah.
my next question.
Yeah, so when
So-
buses are there, someone couldn't be parked in the loop area, but someone
But-
could still be parked on that side.
Right, but when they're parked there, the buses pull in, they're gonna be blocked in.
They would be.
And how many spaces is that? You keep saying parking lot, and that conjures a very specific sort
Maybe
of
8 to
thing.
10, it's not gonna
Okay.
be huge. This is from memory, how many spots there'll be, but about 8, I'm thinking, 8 to 10 is my
Okay.
memory. So basically doubling what they have in the front section for parents who are coming for meetings or into the building. As there's only really 2 that are not handicapped for visitors to come in the building during the day.
I wish I would've remembered that. I'm not so sure how I feel about that.
Can I pulled it up on maps. Can you just confirm that I'm looking at
Yep.
the right thing?
Absolutely.
So you're talking about come around the loop and they go here?
Yes. Yes. We believe that tree would remain, so from the inner side of that tree to about there. And then, like I said, there would be a sidewalk that comes this way to connect to this sidewalk.
Let me see exactly, because where I'm
Yeah.
thinking it might be totally.
So they're talking about sort of from the end of the yellow here up
Right.
to the tree, leaving a small green area and then.
Yeah, that's where I thought they were putting it.
Those are the winners, yeah, drawings.
I'm just not sure I like that.
Mhm.
I'm not so sure I like that.
It's not so different from the way Anna Jarvis is right now.
No,
It's gonna remove some green space, but I think it's necessary.
yeah, this is
And this
Mrs.
is-
Knott's request,
This is
yeah.
stable.
Too mushy,
Yeah.
too wet.
Yeah, all the other areas we considered.
I go out there for
For-
chess from time to time, on Thursdays,
Mm-hmm.
and I usually find a place in the loop while the buses are lining up. But
We need parking. We do
Yeah,
need more
yeah,
parking
yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure I agree with, I would like to see a bigger parking lot, period. I don't know where we would put that. The other thing, I thought, depending on where that parking lot was going to go, years ago, when we started doing parent pickup and drop-off, or especially drop-off in the morning, now they have it to where you go down one lane, because that was a big issue that I saw when I was dropping my kids off. Have an outer drive around, you know what I mean? And instead of going through the parking lot at all to drop kids off or line up, pave an outer round, you know what I mean, around the whole thing, so then the parents stay out of the parking lot, period, when they're going back there. Do you see, you know what I
Yep,
mean?
Yep, yeah.
That was something, but I was kinda thinking if it was gonna be a bigger parking lot in the back, we might be able to manage that, but. Okay, I guess I'm gonna vote on it.
Okay.
I don't like it. I
Mhm.
don't know, I think the way the school is, it's just, I just hope it looks right, that's all. That's all. I don't want it to hurt the visual, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I will say
That's
Mrs.
cool.
Knotts was included in all those conversations about her original, where we considered, again, it's just too wet. And then we talked about all
Right.
the other options of runoff, and so she did, it's going to try to match the other side, so it looks like it was there to match.
Okay.
That makes sense. Trying to make it
Right.
look-
Okay. And this will be done by next school year?
That, yes, that was when that was part of the contract, it would be done over the summer, so it wouldn't interfere with school.
Okay. All right. Any additional questions on the remainder of the 3000 series? All right, we have an open motion on the floor. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion's passed, 4-0. Moving us into the 4000 series, financial. And Mr. Dolan, you look like you have a number of things for us this evening.
So I guess the first thing we'll talk about is the budget. Inside your packet, you should have received a copy of the FY '26 balanced budget for the year. So just some key features or key things to point out. The total revenue for the year for Fund 11, 12, and 61, those are our three main operating funds, is $37,451,558.18. $28,868,000 of that is in Fund 11, which is our general revenue fund. 3.9 million of that is from our excess levy, and $4,678,000 is in Fund 61. The bond fund, which is Fund 31 in your packet, are the proceeds from the bonds that we sold last year for the construction of the Anna Jarvis project. In addition, $19 million is what we currently have in that bond fund. We also have an additional $7 million from the SBA for that project as well. So The total salary expenditures for FY '26 school year, that includes the salaries, supplements, health insurance, all the overhead costs for the Board of Education, is $26,748,310. This accounts for 72% of the county's overall operating budget. The remaining 28% of the budget is divided up amongst educational supplies, operating expenditures such as water, gas, electric, and building and ground maintenance. Also included in that is transportation costs such as new bus replacement costs, fuel, and vehicle maintenance. The general fund includes the additional funding for the Third Grade Success Act, which the board implemented last year to get ahead of the potential hiring barrier that we may have encountered with the neighboring counties. Plus, it got us ahead of, providing that assistance to all the students in Taylor County. The budget also includes the 14% increase that PEIA provided everybody this year. And I'm looking forward to see, I keep hearing that the governor may call a special session to help improve the funding for PEIA. So I look forward to see if that happens, as well as the potential updating of the school funding formula to help provide more funding to all 55 counties. Fund 12, or our excess levy, even though the projected revenue was affected by the revaluation of gas wells, we're still projected to receive $700,000 more than the levy calls for. Those additional revenues are broken up per the levy call for the 50-30-20 split between maintenance, technology, and the board discretion. Fund 61 is our special revenue fund, which is comprised mainly of state and federal grants. Given the current political climate, the state has been hesitant to provide preliminary numbers for some of the federally funded programs, but have been told that we should be receiving these in June or July. So we've been instructed to use the figures that we've been provided for this school year for our budget purpose.
June or July, huh?
That is, and it's typically June before we receive those anyways.
Okay.
But like I said, given with
Everything.
what's happening in the federal government, they really aren't giving us a whole lot. So, I passed out the salary supplement book for the year. There was not a state increase to the salary pay tables, so they look very similar to last year's. Inside the book is also the academic supplements for the year for national boards, certified counselor, speech pathologist, our extracurricular supplements. There's a correction that needs to be made on the next to the last page under the extra pay assignments, which I'll have corrected for the presentation, for the final presentation in May. Does anyone have any questions at this time?
How long's it been since we've taken a look at our supplements? No, we did that, was it last year or 2 years ago?
Last year.
It was a couple years.
Our first year here. It's my first year.
That was 2 years ago, right?
No, this is just my second year.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, the extracurricular supplements, we
Seems
did,
like you've
we
been here
increased
longer
those.
than that.
We increased those last year.
This is number 2.
Thought it was 2 years.
It's been a joy.
Did we do coaches too?
The last time we did coaches, I believe that was
It's been a while.
yeah, the FY '23 school year. That was the.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that was the first year that.
How about ADs?
I'm glad you bring that up. We did include a little bit of an increase this year for the high school AD. We were approached and asked about that here recently, so I put that dollar figure on there for your consideration.
How much of an increase was it?
Yeah, $2,000.
Okay.
2,100. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I'm okay with it, since our supplements have been looked at in the last few years.
Is there any other questions? So, all right. That concludes the budget part, and the salary supplement part. We had a couple of budget supplements. We received, I think, 4 grants here recently for various things. I believe the one is for a grant that was received by the special ed department for the purchase of a vehicle for our Project Search program. So we're looking to try to find a vehicle that in that price range. So it was a little over $39,000 that we received for that grant to be spent on that particular vehicle. So that was one of the budget supplements that I provided in your packet. And then besides the budget supplement, or the additional supplements, were for the parking lot at West Taylor, to provide the funding for that, and for the tennis court project. Any questions on those?
I know that we're resurfacing, and do we need to do anything else to the tennis courts? I say hesitantly, knowing that that's another can to open.
I'm sure there will be an ask for lighting at some point. I know we investigated that last year, and we're looking into the cost of what that might be involved, which will open an additional can of worms. So
If I can weigh into that a little bit, Ms. Garvin, resurfacing the tennis courts is certainly needed. Likewise, tournaments or
An appropriate playing surface for our student athletes is absolutely paramount for their safety.
And lighting,
down with that.
sometimes the matches go beyond, they don't start till after school typically, or mid-afternoon at the earliest, and sometimes when you have multiple schools together, coming together for some of those matches, it takes longer into the evening, and we would then be able to be hosting those as well.
Well, I'm just gonna say, we have had a lot of issues with those tennis courts.
Yes, we have.
And for as long as I can remember, it's been a while. I'm wondering if the best thing to do isn't to just do them all over again. Or if we're continuing to resurface, I mean, is that even the best route to take? Or, I mean, I don't know, I'm not an expert. Or is it to start from scratch, dig them up, redo them again? I don't know. Or is this just something that's normal wear and tear that we should expect? I'm not sure, but I feel I have a responsibility to question it.
would you like me to speak to that?
Well, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we did investigate that last year when we looked into what would be best, and we had a company that did come in and provide us an estimate to do just that, completely rip it out, start from scratch, and go over again. It was going to be somewhere around $700,000
Oh, my.
to
It was a
do
whopper.
that project.
Remind
So-
me of that next year when I ask the same question.
So that was why we kind of held off on that. So the resurfacing part of it was,
And this is a new company that we're
Yeah.
going to, that we've not used before, so we're hopeful maybe this service. It's also who has done our track, the baseball field,
Right,
and now the football
right.
field. So we're hopeful this might be a better product.
Okay. Remind me of that 700,000 when I ask that again next year, because I probably will. Okay.
All right. Do we have any other questions for Mr. Dolan? Thank you for all your sense, common and otherwise.
You're welcome.
You've done good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
You sit there and hold your breath on how many questions we're going to have.
The superintendent respectfully requests approval of items in the 4,000 series.
So moved.
Mr. Taylor moves.
Second.
Mrs. Knott seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Moving into the 5,000 series, student matters, personnel, and legal matters. Item 5522, April Biddle is requesting permission for her son, who is homeschooled, to be able to attend Grafton High School in order to enroll in the following classes: Coding, App and Game Design 2. This request is for the 2025-2026 school year and would be dependent on class availability. Superintendent respectfully requests approval of items 5522 in the 5,000 series.
Moved.
Mrs. Knotts moves, Mr. Taylor second. Questions?
Yes, I have one. So this says, dependent on class availability, so say all of them are full. Would we permit that child to go, I mean, would he, I don't think we need to permit because of the way it is now with the state, but he can go to any school and try to pick those up in different school system, different county?
That's an excellent question. I hadn't anticipated that one.
With open enrollment, I would
Yeah.
just.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
There's no permit anymore. I mean,
Yeah, just the open enrollment option would give them that choice.
So what is the likelihood of those being available?
It's hard to say when we don't have all the scheduling finished for the next year.
Were those classes full this year?
I can't answer that question. I don't know.
okay. Well, you'll keep us
Yeah.
informed in that.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Dowdy, did you have something?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Any additional questions? We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Continuing in the 5,000 series, professional personnel, employment, renewal of contract, extracurricular, extra duty, professional subs, summer employment, professional resignation, service employment, service personnel, summer employment, creation of a part-time summer feeding cook. Superintendent respectfully requests approval of items 5523 through 5540 in the 5,000 series, with the exception of the names struck from 5539.
Moved.
Mrs. Knotts moves, Mr. Taylor seconds. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Bringing us to the 8,000 series, board member comments and discussions. The first thing on our discussion list is a discussion for the A and B options of the 2025-2026 schedule of meetings for the Taylor County Board of Education.
You should have in front of you a copy of two options, an option A and option B, and the focus is merely on the meetings scheduled for October. Somehow it looks like we inadvertently did not follow the second and fourth Tuesdays of October, so option B reflects that, I believe. And I think option A, with what we talked about last time, for some reason shifted those, separating them. Do I have that right? Let me look at my calendar again. I may have that backwards. I was so ready to talk
So
about
which one do you want?
So
It is not up to me, Mrs. Knotts. It's up to what you're, indeed. I just was trying to keep you on the every other week. So the 7th and the 21st would be the 1st and 3rd as opposed to the 2nd and 4th.
I think that was because of how the November meetings fell, to make it
Yeah.
every other week.
I'm okay with option A.
Option A is what you prefer then.
Option A is fine.
As long as option A has everything we requested on it from last time.
Everything is the same with that one question.
Let's do option A.
I'm fine.
Okay. Option A it is.
So you need to
Mr.
have a-
Dowdy,
you
you
need
go
a
with that?
motion on that or something?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
I move option A. Know what
Mrs.
you need?
Knotts moves option A. Do we have a second? I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Option A.
Thank you for your
4-0.
clarification.
Moving to our next discussion point, a discussion regarding the new House Bill 2003, cell phone use in schools.
So you'll notice that about almost to the bottom, it looks like to pick another A or B option. One is a definitive no cell phones permitted at all, or on school property, or the other is personal electronic devices permitted at school property, providing that students may or will be required to store them in devices or containers or pouches provided by the county board during the instructional day.
I prefer option C.
Oh,
The option, I mean, this says personal devices will be permitted and required to store in containers or pouches provided by the county board. I think that's an unnecessary expense. I think if they're required to be in their backpacks and stay there and not visible to a teacher ever, then that ought to be enough.
I agree.
Are we talking like the Faraday bags, or are we talking about that shoe bag that's sitting on the wall and I'm number 8, so my phone goes in number 8 when I walk in the door, and on my
I'm
way out
fine
the
with
door,
the
I
shoe bags.
pick out number 8. Like what kind of container?
Well, Mon County had these little pouches that they purchased last year. Is that what you're talking about?
yes, ma'am.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I won't vote for that.
Ma'am.
However, I'm okay with, like she said, just have a collection area in the room, or they keep them in their backpacks.
Not
That'd be
not
my
policy.
preference.
How much are the pouches? How much would this cost be?
I
for
don't
the-
begin to know what that would cost. This just came to us from Neola for you to consider.
What do you think?
Well, I think policing students and most students will be responsible and follow the school rules. I think the difficulty they have with some of their findings is that it's difficult to police or students are finding ways to, there are some students finding ways to subvert that requirement.
Well, I think you're gonna police them if we buy the pouches anyway, because they're just not gonna, that maybe they won't use the pouch and they won't put it in the pouch.
Or they'll lose the pouch.
Yeah, something.
Or,
Or if the pouch stays in the classroom and the kids pick a pouch up when they come in the door and put their phone in it, okay, but then what if kids are like, I'm not putting my phone in that pouch? They're gonna police it anyway, you see what I mean?
Mhm.
Or are you giving the pouches for them to take home and bring to school every day?
No.
I don't know. I just think I don't like the pouch idea.
I don't-
The pouches,
Yeah. No, we haven't. The only thing I needed to hear from you was whether or not you wanted to restrict them from being in the schools at all.
Well,
I do not.
wait a minute, let's
You
back
do
up.
not. You need to make a motion.
Let's back up. I didn't get to read everything about what was passed today.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to go, and I know we got an email on it, but I didn't read it, and I know.
Okay.
it
This
was in-
isn't
I
even
know it
listed
was
as
in
a
the-
third or first or any reading. It's just
I know it
floating
was in
out
the
to it.
news, right? Of
Right.
what Morrissey.
The governor signed today, yeah.
So can you tell me exactly what he did sign? Because we may not have a choice in anything.
I don't have a copy of that he
Yeah,
just signed today.
Okay.
We had just prepared this as,
So-
our goal was, this is what was provided to us initially, and it clearly goes in one of two directions. It's either flatly no school, nothing on school property, or a different direction. So I was just trying to get a read for that before we even put this before you as a first, second, or third
Yeah.
reading.
I would move we use option C, where we require cell phones to be either in a backpack or in a teacher-provided shoe bag or whatever that the cell phones could be kept in, one or the other of those.
Yes, I second that, because I still feel the same way I've always felt about the cell phones. I don't feel that we should be using them during instruction time. However, I feel they should be available unless the state tells us they can't come in at all. I mean, then your hands are tied. We don't have a choice, right? Which I want to really read I didn't get to really sit down and read it in depth.
It's my understanding that the new law says that we have to have a policy, but does not dictate that we have to have a policy that there are no cell phones.
All it says is banning the use of personal electronic devices during instructional time.
Okay, then I am fine with what Mr. Taylor has proposed. I will second that.
That's not the whole bill, but that's just a.
And
Right.
I feel that if children and kids, and especially high school students, are using them in the hallways between classes, I'm okay with that.
At what
Lunch.
point in the calendar do we have to have a definitive policy in place here? By,
Regarding this,
yeah,
Signed it today, so
we'd have to check the date of his effective date on that, and I've not seen that today.
okay.
We'll have to look into that. So I hear your preference.
And
So
I think
we'll-
we might want to just think about it, too. I'm okay with what Mr. Taylor has proposed, but maybe think about it. We've got a little bit of time, right? Before
Surely,
July
you
1.
should do. And typically, these are 90 days at the soonest from the date of signage. You know, it takes effect
So-
within 90 days unless there's some language today that says effective immediately, but
I feel like we'd hear more about it dramatically.
I'm sorry?
I feel like that would have been a more dramatic announcement
Yeah.
than,
And
this one says by July 9th.
there you go.
okay.
So we could have by the end of the school year. You still have time to do 3 readings of whatever that needs to be before the end of this school year. So we get them effective July 1 if you prefer, or in accordance with what she just said.
I know that our hands are tied on this. It was signed by the governor, but I just kind of feel like doing this is going to tempt the kids to use them more because they know now that they can't. And that's how I feel. I know how kids are, you know. And I also feel like electronics is a huge part of life now. And if we don't get kids accustomed to having them intertwined in their life of when you use them, when you don't use them, when you put them aside, when you can, you know what I mean? And so on and so forth. Because they're going to go get jobs after they get out of school, whether they go into college or whether they go get a job. Even if they go to college one day, they're going to get a job, right? And they need to understand how to use electronics, when it's appropriate to use them. And if we can teach them at a young age, I think that's a good thing, to get accustomed to them
Well,
in their life.
for the record, I'm a proponent of responsible use of phones because I
Right,
believe
that's what I'm
instruction can
saying.
include,
Some requirements that
That's what I'm saying, responsible use.
yeah, however, we have seen
Right.
what the governor is dictating that we use
Yes.
requirements that Dr. Decker's referencing, so.
there are some minimum requirements inside of the bill that have to be specified by you. So
Okay.
those are probably things you want to look at before you're making your final.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we
Right,
need to think
so-
about it.
This is an excellent starter. And I also didn't open that 003.
2003?
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
What did you say, Mr.
I
Clark?
also did not open the email that we got, so I haven't had a chance to
Yeah.
actually read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to really look,
Every
but there are
line.
some minimum requirements for the board, so you probably should.
I mean, here's my
So-
take tonight. I agree with Mr. Taylor, but I really feel like we need to take a closer look at this before we make a decision.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'm not surprised you had that definitive response, but we just thought, well, let's see what they prefer. If you're absolutely saying nothing in the school, then we would know what direction to go. Not being surprised if that's not the direction we're going. Well, like we were all saying, we're all in agreement.
It's kind of hard to make a decision when his decision and his signing was hot off the press as soon as we walked in the door today.
May I just say amen to that, please?
All right.
That was not a partisan statement. I'm just saying amen to that. Thank you.
Do we have anything else for the discussion series?
I asked at the last meeting that we, at a future meeting, put a pool on our discussion section. So I would like to have a discussion of plans, possible plans for a indoor pool under discussion for us to at least start exploring.
We have started looking into that, Mr. Taylor, just so you know that we did not ignore your comment. You did say, the word you said was future meeting. So we did start looking at some information. You provided us some information as well, but the most important question I have is not so much if or when, but where. So be mindful of that we don't have a piece of property that I'm aware of.
I think we have a piece of property
Oh?
that's going to be vacated. The bus garage.
I even know, I'm not gonna put a swimming pool on top of an old gas tank. There's so much in the ground there.
I also want to remind you the required, this is my very limited knowledge so far. The requirement for a competitive sized pool that you're suggesting would be about 80 feet wide. That's just the water part. Beyond that would require the surrounding decking, I guess is the best word for that. Beyond that would be your spectator sections, and beyond that would be your facilities for the maintenance plant, I guess, whatever that's called, in addition to your restroom or changing facilities for your competitors or your swimmers. In addition to that, don't forget, we would be expecting some parking that would be hopefully significant enough to accommodate that. Am I opposed to swimming and swimmers and that kind of competition? Absolutely not. I just know that you're talking a significant purchase, and the property that you're suggesting would by no means begin to accommodate that need. It's not even level enough to make all that work. So I'm not opposed, but I'm just cautioning that before you, as you continue to discuss those possibilities, that there's going to be a pretty sizable challenge.
Well, I'm not gonna disagree at all with Mr. Taylor, because I would support a pool in our county indoor for our athletes. However, I'm not gonna do it before we give our music program everything that they need first. That's gonna be my priority before. That's just how I feel. I think we've got done, and John, Mr. Taylor, I'm in agreement with you, because for our swimming students, we do need to explore that, because you know what? We could utilize that for a lot of different, and we could even go in with the county and try to come up with some sort of sports complex, you know what I mean? We can do that.
Well,
I'll be full support of that.
that's why I wanted on for a discussion kind of thing, so that we can explore options, which is not really appropriate for us to do since it's not on the agenda. And, I want it on the agenda so that we can have that kind of discussion.
And I think we should.
And I'm not hung up on a time frame. I don't think it should be done yesterday. Well, it should have been done yesterday, but, I think we have time, but we ought to explore it, and there are other players that could be involved, but that's part of the discussion we need to have.
For the record, I am not against improving our students' future, and I cannot wait to discuss this in more detail.
But it's not on the agenda.
Right.
Can you put it on there so we can actually,
Fuss at each other.
yeah. There, you got it. We enjoy that.
Duly noted.
Thank you. All right. Anything else for the discussion or potential future discussion? Awesome. Moving into the 9,000 series, future meetings. May 6th, 2025, 6 o'clock here at the board office. That's a special meeting. May 13th, 6 o'clock here at the board office. May 20th, 6 o'clock here at the board office. June 3rd, which is the superintendent's evaluation, 6 o'clock here at the board office. June 10th, 6 o'clock here at the board office. And June 24th, 6 o'clock here at the board office. And the 1 week that we don't have a meeting, we do have a graduation.
And please don't say you need to schedule another meeting.
I'm sorry.
You don't need to schedule another meeting, right?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Delightful.
Not tonight.
All right. With no additional meetings being required, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Dowdy,
Mr. Dowdy?
who's been hanging in there the whole time.
Is that what you've been waiting to do all evening? Is just that, huh?
Mr. Dowdy moves. Mr. Taylor seconds. All those in favor? Aye. And we are adjourned at 7:41 p.m. Thank you all very much for your time and for everything you do.
Bye, Mr. Dowdy.
Good night, Daniel.
Bye, Daniel.